Right.
They would. If they could make money from it, they'll definitely
They'd do it. They'd do it somehow.
No words about
Well, I
that.
don't know how the design would look, but you can just imagine, like, it'll end up back on Brock at some point, and there'll be Brock Lesnar with these Mickey Mouse things, or they'll yeah, I don't know. It's just mad to have. They'll have to have, like, everyone's gear would have to have the Mickey Mouse ears somewhere just to brand, because they brand everything, don't they? Everything's branded.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's just mad how they would. They would.
I was having this chat with my friends the other day, and we were talking about, like, over Skype. We were talking about, like, how much actually we've ever used our TV now, like actually the TV channels, and it's like almost zero. And I wonder, is this the next thing as well to be phased out? Like, streaming TV is taking over so much because it's convenient to watch it when I want to watch it now.
You have to wait for a time anymore, and that's something that's so weird. Like, since we moved house in February, and we went from Sky to Virgin, and I have never watched anything through the actual Virgin. And I said to Jess, I was like, can we cancel the TV and just keep the Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
That's all we need is the Wi-Fi. Because I watch the same. I just Netflix and now Disney Plus, because Disney Plus is great for the kids as well. Like, I just put Mickey Mouse Clubhouse on, which is the worst
YouTube.
thing ever, but,
YouTube now has become like a vast world in itself. Do you know what I mean? That's become different as well.
Yeah, like, there's like proper shows on YouTube now. There's not just like videos of people falling over.
Right. I mean, I watched that. I watched that Cobra Kai. Because
that was
a bit of a geek.
Yeah, that was the original
Karate Kid. But they
the
had,
Karate Kid thing.
Yeah, they had the whole series exclusive to them. So they're now doing their original stuff now as well. Like Netflix have got on to. So it's pretty crazy.
So weird
that YouTube are like up there like that. And then you've got Amazon Prime, of course, which is the other big thing that's around. So I can see everything going that route at some point. I think the only thing you probably need television stations for is live sport. I don't particularly like watching. I wouldn't watch a football game like later, a whole game. I'd have to watch.
Yeah, but what if they had like a network how WWE has? So like you get an alert saying it's starting and it's live streamed through the network. This is a good
point, and a lot of people have said that it would be cheaper for people like customers. They could just flog it for £5 a month instead of paying these outrageous prices.
Well, yeah, because you have that, and then for instance, you can have all the because like even if you put on they could make documentaries like how WWE do about certain players. Like, in the whole history of football, they could just. I don't know if they do already have documentaries, but
if they wanted, they could have their own thing. But the only thing they would need is presenters, and they'd have to get all that sorted out.
Yeah,
they'd have to probably nick them from Sky somehow.
Yeah,
but once they got that, they own their own. They are the Premier League, and obviously they have to. They get the bids from Sky and all the rest of it. But if they were to run it themselves, they'd make even more money. Even at popping it at £5 down to you, you think that's ridiculous, but they'd still make a hell of a lot more money through doing it.
Yeah, because there'll be people that don't get it, because there are people that go to like bars just to watch football every week because they don't want to pay that money. So I'm pretty sure if it's only a £5, they'd pay for it.
Yeah,
they'd pay that £5 then. Yeah, I'm not really a big football guy. I like playing football. I'm not very good, but I can't watch football. Like, I'm not
right.
It bores. To me, it's one of those things like when certain people watch wrestling and they're like, oh, it's all the same. Where someone who's into wrestling, it's really not. And I'm the same with football.
It's kind of
like you can put an exciting, like air quotes, exciting football match on, and I couldn't tell the difference between like a bad one. I'm just like, oh, it's just football. It's all the same. But obviously, people like that, like with wrestling, to me, like certain people, I'll be like, oh, watch this one, it's really good, and they're like, isn't it just all the same?
But, I had very recently, I had a rugby coach. Quite a well-known one come onto my podcast, and I've never really watched rugby ever.
That's a fun conversation.
So I was glad because it kind of went into different ways, and I told him up front. Really, I didn't pretend, so I think that helped.
I know you should have just been like ringing it the whole time, and then you wait till they get like an hour in, and then drop it to him. But like, I have no idea.
He'd have said something about a rule, and I'd have been like, yeah, and be like, what? He would have got thrown out of it. So there's some things that I'm not really into viewing, and then there's some things that I am. But it's kind of hit and miss with some sports really that I'll watch. Like for instance, I got this really odd I like snooker. I don't know why, but I enjoy watching snooker. And again, when I was a kid, it was the most boringest thing I could ever imagine sitting down and watching. But I think Ronnie O'Sullivan really got me into it, just because of his personality outside. And then I was drawn into watching him. And now I kind of like, I'll sit and watch a game of snooker. But it's kind of one of those things now, because they've done a snooker event with no crowd. It makes no difference. I can sit and watch
can you
that.
imagine? Yeah,
no difference.
That's got no difference at all.
No difference at all. So that's fine. That has not changed at all. If anything, it's better because the cameras can move in places they couldn't before, because you'd be in somebody's way. So that's got the opposite end of the spectrum in terms of thing. But the thing with football, they've had German football back on, and obviously now you're just hearing all the players literally having a squabble and shouting. But the stupidest thing is,
all the heavy
when
breathing and the grunting.
Yeah,
I reckon
the funny thing is when they score a goal. Like, there's no one to celebrate to. Like, where are you
I'd love
going?
it if they just take away the celebrations. They score a goal and they're just like, sweet, cool, that's it.
One of the German
one guy, and that's it.
Yeah, that's what it should be. One of the German teams has decided to have like a fake crowd go on when they score. So they play it over the top just to add something into it.
Well, isn't it? I think it's basketball where you actually lose points for over celebrating, or like you don't lose points, but the other team will get like. I think there's something like it's from my little bit of basketball that I know. Like if you celebrate too much or waste time, you lose. They get like a free throw or something. I think that's what it should be like. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
did you catch the Netflix series? The Last Dance.
I started it. I've watched 5 minutes of it, and then I had to turn it off for some reason. I can't remember why. I think Sophie was moaning.
Yeah, you need to watch Disney that. That's really good.
Yeah, I think really good. I assumed because I don't really watch basketball, I wouldn't get it so much. That's maybe why. No,
I'm not. By any stretch, I'm not a basketball fan at all. But you don't really need to be in this one because there's more to it than just that. So it was more about his kind of drive to want to win all the time through Michael Jordan, but it's also about Chicago in general. But it's about that whole just how the hell he managed to pick everybody up. And,
that's good.
Yeah, it's quite.
Because I'm just trying to think, like the thing, sports I watch. I'm trying to get into I'm trying to get into watching UFC more. And again, it's one of those things that I've watched videos on like the weight classes. Like I was watching bits of it, and I was like, "What's an interim belt?" Like, I had to learn about that and all that sort of stuff. So, and again, I think even that though, that stems from like loving pro wrestling, because not that the physical, but I meant all like it was the McGregor shit talking that's first ever made me want to watch UFC. And then I watched it for a bit and then sort of stopped. And now that it's one of the only things like going that you can watch. And like I said, I watched the no fans one, and it wasn't cringy. Like if anything, you made it a bit more intense. I thought anyway. And again, like if you listen to Joe Rogan, you have to end up watching UFC at some point because all he does is talk about it.
Joe Rogan is so good at what he does. He's kind of a big draw for me when like watching UFC. If he's not on some of them, I'm a little bit thrown off. Because I know he doesn't do them all, but like the big ones he does, and I just enjoy listening to him. Imagine my dream team would be like for a professional wrestling would be Joe Rogan, like color commentator or something with Mauro Ranallo. That would be like my perfect dream team for a professional wrestling match. Right. Yeah, there. But Mauro's done MMA. I mean, he has done MMA and boxing as well. But
if Rogan got done commentary for like wrestling, that'd be sick.
It's
like I love his stand up that he does about pro wrestling. Like it's just so it just makes me laugh so much because I feel like he nails every person that doesn't watch wrestling's opinion on wrestling like instantly. You know, it's just.
Did you see the one where Jake Roberts was a guest?
I've heard bits of it, and they're just like
but it's quite fun.
I've seen like a few bits. I know it's like an early one, so to get it on on iPhone, you'd have to scroll quite far to find it. But I even watched like the when he has like the hunters on and like all that sort of stuff. I literally watch. I don't even know half the people that are on there. If you show me pictures of them, I wouldn't know who they are or what they're famous for. But I just listen to it because again, it's more of like even like this like. Wrestlers aren't going. It doesn't have to just be wrestling fans that listen to this. Like we've spent a lot of it talking about other stuff that isn't wrestling.
Yeah.
We just
It's been one of those things though, because I think a lot of the wrestlers that come on during lockdown were getting, because there was so much free time, they were doing loads of podcasts. You know what I mean? So they were getting asked the same questions over and over again. So in the end, I was like, look, we can just talk about other things. We don't have to just. But a lot of the listeners gave good feedback, because they never really hear people and wrestlers talk about other things other than just wrestling.
Oh,
so
yeah, like you do something
nice. It's a nice break.
And it's sort of like a little thing that's like I say, and with this, everything that's happening, I said this to you when we wasn't, before we was recording, I think a lot of wrestlers and people in wrestling during this lockdown have sort of realised what their life is without wrestling.
Yeah.
And people are either cool with it, or they're people either cool with it / trying to find a new interest, like I am. My thing's trying to find new interests. So that I've got other stuff to do than just like sit around looking at my wrestling case being sad. Or there are people that are freaking out, and I'm not going to name names, but I know people that are freaking out, that are like, oh my god, I need to get back to wrestling, it's all I've got. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are people out there, and I think it's nice to have nice to have sort of that little. For me, it's nice to realise that I'm cool to like look into other things as well. And
I've tried to do that with this podcast. I've had like a different variety of guests on. I had someone on recently as well, John Carrigan, who's like he's an incredible stunt guy in Hollywood, and he's a martial artist. I don't know, I can't tell you the ins and outs that he is, but he's some sort of master, and he's got like third dans and all these kind of things. And then he started working with people like William Shatner as a bodyguard and stunt double for him.
That's been cool.
He's just been, he's got all these wonderful, crazy stories with sort of kung fu days, and obviously people like Steven Seagal, and man, some of the stories were just really opened my eyes up to that whole, what that industry must be like, very cutthroat type stuff. But one of the things we were talking about was just, like you'll come across it on YouTube where you find those really old videos of like people back in the day, where they've uploaded like video cassettes of guys saying, yes, I can teach you, how to kill somebody within an instant, and blah,
like
blah,
I see this one video, like this guy just got his black belt, and then he's like, nothing, and then his coach is like, nothing can kill you now, you know what you're doing. And then the guy jumped into a lion thing at a zoo and got eaten.
I saw that.
He tried to fight this lion, and it's like,
man,
my god. I think that's another thing that UFC done as well. Like when it started, I've another thing, like from watching YouTube videos, people have said for such a long time, no one was actually sure which discipline was the best, because you just like judo.
Well, that's what we were
talking
talking about,
guys.
actually. Yeah, we were talking about the Gracies.
Yeah, like judo's guys would fight judo guys, and like all that, and it was always like, what is the best discipline for just a fight? And I think like UFC is one of those things where it sort of cleared that up. It's sort of it's not like one thing. It's like if you're like amazing at grappling, doesn't mean you're going to be, you have to do all these different things. But I don't know, like
kind of a hybrid now.
Yeah. To be fair, I'm not like, even though I've said like I'm doing cool with that, I am really missing wrestling now. I do want to sort of get that point across. Like I must have watched. In case there's some promoters going, that bitch.
It's not into it,
bitch. Yeah. All right, I won't book you then if you do it fine. You sit at home and watch UFC.
Have you had like much, like I know you and Jack talk a lot and stuff like that, but have you kind of like, I mean, there's only so much thinking you can do in this time without driving yourselves mad, but have you kind of got a real clear vision of when stuff comes back again, like some of the new things that you might incorporate, and like, because I'm sure it's been a good time to just reflect on where you're at, where you've come from, and do you know what I mean? Whereas you wouldn't have had the opportunity before.
Sort of, like in my head, I've come up with a few little ideas that are like move wise or like sequences that I've written down on my phone. But the main thing that me and Jack have sort of agreed on is we've got like a goal that we're keeping, not like to ourselves, but it's not even like a certain place. It's like there's a goal that we want, as in like how busy we want to be and sort of level that we want to be at. And we've sort of put a game plan in to get there, like as in like what we want to do, like where we want to train, what we, how we want to present ourselves as like going forward, and sort of really sort of